entered crunch time. Only 2 games left. I'm starting to get nervous like Z.
Yeah, man. You know, again, contextually, when you look at those numbers, you're like, man, these are really consistent, strong numbers. If this was finals, man, I'd be like, dude, I'd give them all the praise, right? But this is the last chance lobby. Only the victory royale matters. So many duos still looking to try and get a VR. We saw Dragon and Creon as well find kind of a moment there before Creon was put in a situation to also solo clutch, but man, the lobbies are very difficult. And Kelly, with 2 games left to go, I feel like everyone's going to continue to get more and more desperate to try and piece together whatever they need to find that VR.
And at this point, I'm not like sure if they're going to be desperate for high ground, because it just seems like so many people are fighting for high ground, or if they're going to be desperate for kind of this mid ground that we're seeing a lot of our teams pick up right now, which is what Dragon and Creon have been doing in the past, where they don't necessarily go for high ground, but they definitely don't want to be on the extreme low. And once again, Creon going into a solo competitor here. We've seen this duo compete together. They actually made it to grand finals last major as well as a duo. So I think that there's a lot of potential here. They have not been having the games that they've wanted. I think the same can be said for Void and Magma, although obviously in this game, a much better turnout than it was for games 1 and 2 for them.
Yeah, I mean, actually, they looked like they were poised to go ahead and win this one. I mean, straight up the 2v2, they had the positioning against F9 and Moneymaker, but unfortunately for them, the solo in the mix there, Liam kind of just makes it impossible for them to ever get a foothold on any sort of solid ground, and as a result, F9 and Moneymaker just took full advantage of it. So a little bit of life here towards the second half of the competition for Void and Magma with that second place finish for them. If they can kind of repeat that type of performance, then we could be seeing them qualify to grand finals.
Well, Viv, we've only got 2 games to make it happen. Right now, it is that time. Like you said, crunch time is here with 2 games. Who will walk away with the coveted victory royale to be able to say we're going to finals, we're looking to fight for spots to global championships later on? Up first, casters, MDF, Jacob, are you guys stressed as I am?
Not one bit. I ain't stressed at all. I ain't the one playing. I only stress maybe just a little bit actually for Brendan and Jordan, my favorite team probably in all of Fortnite history. What about you, Monster?
Yeah, definitely. They're keeping us entertained here. But, you know, I typed in the chat. We're cruising. These games are fun. This is looking very exciting. You know, with Moneymaker, F9 winning that game right there, we're happy to see them go through. But it's one less exciting team, of course, that we get to watch here in the last 2 games.
Yeah, I will say, though, they didn't necessarily go for high ground in a lot of these games. So they're not necessarily going to affect what's going on up there. What they are going to affect, though, is these mid and low ground layers en route to that game win, Monster. They were just bulldozing player after player, team after team, whether they ripped them apart or sent them back to the lobby. That's one thing they just don't have to worry about. So if you do kind of get stuck in those situations, no materials, you have to give up high ground, I don't think it's going to be as scary as the last game.
Yeah, kind of counterintuitive, right? You expect these teams to be fighting for height, but game 1 and 2, they were quiet. Game 3, they struck. Let's jump into game number 4 now.
You know, typically at this stage of the game, I'm saying, let's take a look at the leaderboard, see how some of our teams were doing. If only it was that type of format. You would think Kanata and Sphinx, Spear and Cash, Void and Magma all playing phenomenally well. It's just all about the victory royale, though, so consistency doesn't mean much. You could be in last place, 0 points, 0 elims, pull off a victory royale, and have the same type of feeling as everybody else.
Yeah, definitely. So we start to jump around now. Things are off to a fast start. Barney ends up falling here. Wiggs and Jasper. You can see they've made a lot of progress, if you will, with at least their tournament chances alive so far. Of course, they are still in the race fighting for that win, though. Just like that, they end up besting their drops. Sphinx and Kanata on the other side, a little bit quiet here after they've been given the drops themselves, rightfully so, earning it so far. Pretty much the most consistent team here on the day, but consistency means nothing when you're forced to clutch up as a solo at the end.
Matter, can you piece it together in time? These last 2 games, but just like game 3, game 4, Kanata Sphinx uncontested. But just like every other game before, Christian Drew, Flurry, Bacon, Egg, and Peace continued to go at it here at the south side of Lifty Lodge. Chris and Drew have not been getting the better end of the deal. It more than likely has been Flurry and Bacon, Egg, and Peace. But all it takes is one win. All it takes is one opportunity and even one shot like that from Drew to drop onto Flurry and turn this into a 2v1.
Drew, Chris going back and forth the shots there. I was thinking that that was going to be the end of it, but not quite just yet. Drew jumps down to low ground. He doesn't lose sight of the Bacon, Egg, and Peace. Finishes up the job. That's the first that we've actually seen this fight kind of this early in the game, so these guys getting a bit desperate, it seems.
Yeah, I can kind of see it, kind of the pressure from all around the map. Ruins and Cole, Wonky Land. Didn't necessarily start off this way with a fight. We can kind of see the desperation, or at least the adjustments coming in from a lot more of these teams. Cyclops and Mike venturing on over, trying to get more and more loot, give themselves a little bit of a better chance, but now he's just kind of stuck underneath. Spray coming from both Cole and Ruins. They haven't been able to find him yet, but if they were just to be a little bit more persistent, spray a little bit more in that direction, they definitely would.
Gotta continue to get active here. Cole and Ruins have that single elim. Gonna do is finish things up here now, though. You can see Cyclops is trying to stay still under the ramp there, but that's not gonna work. So the Wonky Land zone pull here. Things are going pretty far north. Magma Void finding their 2 quick eliminations here at the Sanctuary. Seen a lot of activity at this drop over the course of the heats, and now, of course, into the set lobby here.
We're looking at, you know, Void and Magma, you know, 4th place coming in here. They were just barely 5 spots out in their heat, which was heat 1. So they know what it's like to be close. They've been in 3 grand finals. They just got to be able to pull it together here with 2 chances left, just like Liam and Tick. We saw them fight for that high ground in that last game, but again, we saw more and more teams. It's kind of going off and on. Game 1, fight for high ground. Game 2 was a little lackadaisy. Game 3, multiple teams went ahead and fought for high ground again, which inevitably led to the downfall of Liam and the Tick. Even with eliminations throughout the course of that fight, they just expended so much. So when they finally gave up high ground, they had nothing left to protect themselves.
Yeah, you know, it just comes down to execution. If they didn't basically get punished so much in the fight, they could have turned it around a little bit faster. They would have been okay, but when you go back and forth and you go blow for blow, you're just setting up everyone else's opportunity there. And it really weighed on the lobby. The entire lobby last time around was in shambles. Barely anyone had mats. Let's see, no plays here for the first time. Alongside Mafia, just about the furthest they've made it, so pretty tough first 3 games here. Another duo kind of lurking nearby, listening to what's happening, but Noah's got his eyes on the prize here, just trying to win his battle for now.
I was about to say, I'm looking at the mini map just as much as the actual fight. I'm just praying, no, it turn around. There's a whole nother team crashing the party. Luckily for them, Monster, they were on the low ground, so not as much of a risk as their opposition up above. There's at least 3, maybe even 4 teams directly here, a possible 5th and 6th team in the distance, and everybody's hearing this same noise. So they're all going to start to look over in this direction, so you got to be careful. If you are the team on the outskirts of this fight, you protect yourself, and there goes another one. Tricks and Blasher going ahead and sneaking up onto Bucky and Cam. I don't know what is the hot spot and what's attracting all the attention here, but a good portion of the lobby has made their way on over.
Yeah, definitely a lot of congestion happening here. There's even more teams. Look, teams are listening to what's happening here. Teams are watching kind of off in the distance in their individual bases. And it just makes me wonder that these are all the guys that have having a hard time with Storm Surge, so they're really trying to just get involved right now.
And you see one team disengaging off. Oh, we didn't get what we wanted. A little bit too crowded. Probably took way too much time. They knew a disengagement was possibly coming. Noah plays, and Mafia even able to get out relatively safe. But as a couple of teams are leaving, I see in the minimap a whole nother team is rotating in from the north side. Angel and Joe starting to make their way on over. I gotta think this is relatively close to the center of the map, but still very, very early on. The zone can kind of push people out. And you see Suspect all by himself. He was the one that gained a lot of that attention throughout the course of that fight, and now he just has to sit and wait for everybody to disengage so he has some sort of hope to get his teammate back, so that way they have a shot here in game 4 and they don't leave it into the last dance.
Yeah, definitely. Pressure just starting to boil here. Look at this though, Spear, Cash have this team again on their heels right now, just watching them stalking here as they approach the machine right now. Just shows you there's always danger nearby too. You never really know who it is.
Just looking at Blue and Maji, I'm just thinking like, they don't typically land over here at Sunken Shores. They usually go over towards the Cluster Coast. So many players and teams are all together switching up their drop spots here with few opportunities left. Even got Spooky and Fire Mask. We saw Fire Mask get a crucial elimination during the course of that last end game. They're lurking up over towards this vending machine. And that's typically the strategy you see a lot of teams do, especially the ones that are landing on the outskirts and do get this max pull, is just kind of hit vending machine after vending machine. Use only 100 gold, buy one med kit, and keep it going.
Gotta get a little something, but look at this Spooky. Fire Mask kind of hanging around. Cash and team end up doubling back here, but that's the giveaway from the zip lines. Again, it comes through, misses the most critical shot though. That might be the one chance that they had to do something big with this. Nothing comes out of it. Fire Mask now, Spooky. Kind of take their L and they go. The other team goes back down the zip. They're like, okay, what's going on up here? They kind of go their separate ways.
Yeah, we'll say, even though they missed that shot and it was a great opportunity, at least they didn't lose anything. They didn't take damage, so it's not necessarily a loss just yet for them, especially since they're going to start to make it a priority to try to get to zone. Bucky and Cam all the way from Sinister, keeping the strategy alive. The only team so far in this game to get that Warforged AR right out of the gates. Obviously, if they go down, it leaves it open to getting grabbed. But I want to see them kind of elevate themselves here in some of these end games and just kind of rain down from above. You see the strategy, one of them having that pistol, the other one having the Warforged, so they get to maximize the amount of ammo they have between the two as well.
I don't think I was paying enough attention if whether or not Brennan and Jordan was still alive, but judging by how many teams are out in the storm, they could be in the wild. What do you think about Sphinx and Kanata here?
Yeah, up above. If any game is a game to win, oh yeah, you see where the zone goes? This has to be that game to win. If you are Kanata and Sphinx. You're on a surge base. The zone is literally going on over to your POI. You're uncontested this time around. You see Sphinx is literally missing only one build, full ammo, full chug-chugs. They have everything that they need here. Obviously, if the zones pull away, that's something that's working against them. But for the most part, this is seeming like it could be it. I don't want to call it too soon and jinx them, but this could be a moment here for Kanata and Sphinx.
What more can you ask for when you put a zone like that? We'll just have to see. Liam, Tick, though, trying to get back to that glorious endgame fight. This time, they're in a bit of a scrappy battle here at the Latte Landing. Plenty of teams, surprisingly nearby, kind of listening to the action go down here. Liam, though, takes a monster shot in return there. This is really bad. They've now officially gone through all of their metal. Tick ends up falling. Flixes gets the exchange. The Siphon's going to keep him alive. This is just bad news all around. Liam goes right into Wallahi and his teammate here as well. It's just not good.
That was kind of perfectly played, though. We're chasing
They left
duo.
him? Okay.
Yeah, wasn't even necessarily, you know, going for an elimination. He was kind of by himself. That's the thing. He was a solo. Chase was too far away. He was probably listening to the fight, knowing like whoever wins or loses this fight, they got to come back to this reboot. Gets a cheeky shot, realizing maybe one more person there could have been his teammate. He just kind of disengaged for free. And now you're kind of seeing the other half. We know Kanata Sphinx position outside of Frosted Flats, on top of that mountain, I should say. They don't have to rotate far, but other teams, Soneto, Zypta, just trying to get in any position that you can. Bush in the middle. And because so many teams are positioned in bases all around, there's not going to be too many risky opportunities with teams rotating just kind of blindly into that bush.
As long as Soneto and Zifta have the damage, I mean, that's about as good as having a massive base. They are super low key, and they should be fine to ride out a couple zones. Mero, Osid have been struggling with Storm Surge, at least from our perspective, from what we've seen. There's been kind of disconnect with the damage that they've been able to put out. Osid, Mero, going to kind of entertain this battle, if you will, but look at this. I see Brennan and Jordan here on the outside. They haven't even started their massive base. Instead, they're getting chased by ZXZ. What is going on over here? Mero, Osid see something fishy's going on the outside. They're starting to turn their attention towards this team as well.
I'd say this could be a blessing, though, for Brennan and Jordan. When you have Miro and Osid making their way on over, it just makes it that much more of a risk to go ahead and try to chase down a team, whether you have the damage there or not. You can kind of see where the zone is going, all the way towards the western edge. And so now Miro and Osid do have a little bit of a decision. Do you want to continue to focus your attention in that direction, or do you waste no time and try to make your way on over towards the zone? As we tune into Bucky, he has to waste no time himself, making his way on back. 260 below the damage threshold, no Bucky in sight. He's immediately positioning himself on that reboot van, which is gonna give away his position to the rest of the lobby.
Yeah, but remember this. We just saw Kanata and Sphinx here up on the mountain. I still see the arrows there, so you got to think that they're all going to be focusing this player flying out the sky right now. There we have it. Let's take a look at the replay here. Brennan trying to do something here, but no! Jacob. That's going to be a major setback on time, damage, material counts. That
I was gonna say, most people looking at that monster and they're like, yo, he just fell in the water, what went wrong? Everything went wrong. When you're a sky-based team and you fall off of your height, the timing isn't there. Like Monster said, the material.
I only want to say one thing. Fortnite saw him fuck up please both times that I've been CS. And he both up the potent dive by Storm in OD game. We played that, and I did someone dive by bar damage in OD game. Another thing, and we played that. Fortnite 8 the sky bait.
Again, valiant effort, gets the Siphon to kind of stay in the game here, but look, that really wasn't worth much. Now, this player did have some heals, so long as he can pick it up, but there goes the focus from behind. I was going to say, teams are surely going to jump on this. There's just way too many Chug Jugs and Big Paws there. Kicks and Zem will get the first two. Kind of touch the loot here. Creon, Dragon back in the mix here. See that mythic pistol at play there. Alright, so now we finally see Dragon and Creon. They've been kind of struggling, but in a good way, you know, winning these scrappy battles, really showing us their muscle. But now they're alive together, and they actually have something to work with.
Yeah, last time we saw them kind of in the end game around here, you know, it just kind of all fell apart due to lack of materials, lack of resources, and being below that damage threshold. And why the tables have turned this time around, you can kind of see the confidence from Dragon and Creon being able to peek through, trying to persistently put down pressure, whether they get the eliminations or not. It's taking away resources from everybody else. Kanata and Sphinx doing the same thing. More so for that damage, 131 with 18 players needing to go down. They know that can turn at a moment's notice.
Now, we were hyping up the fact that they had pulled that zone and they had the opportunity to play for free high ground, but
I'm sorry, but if it's not
it's just going max draw after max draw.
Not made
now they have to shockwave all the way across here. They've already used a few of them.
Load up.
See how this is going to play out. You have a team already positioned up for high ground. Mero, Osid from deep in the storm. It's cost them a fair bit. You can see the light load out here. A couple open inventory spots. Just 70 above right now. Somehow
sky bait, but not
struggling to find the damage.
Let's see it.
It's not not very characteristic of Ocean nor Miro as far as what we've seen them put up number-wise in the coming weeks.
Yeah, and as you see, it's not going to get any easier. So they have to essentially, just like everybody else, Kanata and Sphinx in that same boat, shockwave up the mountain on one side and make their way down on the other. And that's where you're seeing a couple players just kind of dropping in the feed, just going down, separated from their teammates. Mafia's feeling a little bit of a struggle. Diego plays below the damage threshold. Not as drastic as we've seen so far in this lobby, so one good turn like this from Mafia could put him above the damage threshold. Whether he gets the elim or not, he was successful in that endeavor, but now he's getting sprayed all around. One shot is going to bleed through. He's going to survive on one end, but will remain below the damage threshold, but he's still fighting it out. Lands a good shot. A Monster, the numbers game just worked their way against him.
Yeah, very, very good try in the end there. Still seeing Northern, Calipper alive, Mako and XZ playing the high ground. Mero and Ocean have found their way up to height. Kanata, though, fighting for his life right now as they are barely above the threshold, but Sphinx finds a key elimination. Can they secure the loot is the real question. They do. The rest of the lobby sees and senses the danger down low. Ocean and Mero, though, look at this. You were kind of poking fun at their lack of damage, but they're going for high ground.
It's not just them, though. You see Miro and Osid underneath, Scare and G-Money. Kanata and Sphinx are known for it as well. Didn't necessarily attempt for it in that last game. Tried to control the mid layer before Moneymaker and F9 inevitably took him down. As Mako looking toward the back, takes out Moon. A lot of focus on the B zone. This is where they might look to drop down if they can clean up these eliminations. They have a huge lack of resources, especially since Daze continues to expend them to continue their high ground endeavors. Kanata finds another couple of materials underneath. I know you at one point or another mentioned kind of their dwindling resources, including those shockwave grenades, and that's going to give them a little bit of a boost.
Yeah, that's what happens when you go max for the max. They definitely have found something to put them back in the game right now. G-Money and Scare, though. This is a team that is an elite duo in this lobby. They paired up and are putting up right now. But looking to the high ground, it's still XC, it's still Mako. There's a lot of teams kind of floating in the mid-ground layer. Magma and Void are thinking about it as well. We're gonna see another one of those just all-out fights for height here shortly. I'm seeing way too many teams with a good amount of material, I'll just be honest. I think a lot of people have a lot to work with. So these refreshers are definitely hardy, but take a look at this. Dragon Creon go up for second height as well. They're doing exactly what we thought teams should be doing to start trying to poison up for high ground. Look at this.
Yeah, I even saw a moment right there trying to go and get aggressive. I saw the pre-edit be placed before it was reset. 3 teams continue to look up towards the high ground. That could be their key for success on the bottom. Nero Osid looking to get another elimination, but a full battle continues to break out. Machi and Blue, they switched their drop spots up this game. They probably switched up their entire strategy. It might be time for them to go to height, but they go and try to contest Scare and G-Money, who send them right back down low to the low ground, and they've elevated themselves even more. Monster, one shockwave might not be enough to take high ground away from Scare and G-Money.
No, definitely not. This is how you hold height on a very much structured foundation, because 2 teams fought for it. Creon, Dragon on the other side, find Mako there. They try to get the teammate, and they do as well. And look at this, the double edit comes through though, but Creon hits a monster shot. He has been playing so exceptional. You have to give him his credit. Unfortunately, though, he does lose his teammate there. Hopefully, the second comes in to get him back in the game. Mero, Osid, give up the eyeing of the high ground. Find Sinetto here on the low ground. There's a fresh, big refresher for them. Mero has to split the loot, but no! As he's trying to situate himself, Kanata and Sphinx come crashing down.
A huge sideline there and a pick-me-up opportunity for Kanata and Sphinx. You see Kanata, no extra hard match. Sphinx either, they are on E when it comes to those materials. Good thing for them, that elimination got them a full amount of wood. Now they're going ahead and trying to hold on to this layer. You can see they're not taking any big risks. They can probably hear the action going down above where Creon was able to get another elimination on the blue. Maji is down as well, thanks to Scare. Creon continues to climb up that ladder. He's hoping so that way he can take him down. Scare is even forced to the backside of zone. I think everything has been lost for both of those high ground teams.
And now this is going off the ledge of the mountain as well. So it's whoever will have the material count to go the distance now. G-Money, Scare already starting to run loose here. Little light on it. Kanata Sphinx surely understand there's something happening up top. Creon, though, chops from the storm. Talk about a play, and he gets some elimination. Someone ends up taking a little bit of damage. Creondo is thinking about going for it. Of course he does. Why not? But he doesn't throw the shock in time.
He had a whole nother chug, but he does not time it perfect. The battle for the high ground and possibly the game as well. Kanata and Sphinx send it up with the shockwave. Big shots being fired off onto both of them. Scare will not back down. He is not intimidated, but they still find a way to climb their way on up, taking it away from Scare and G-Money. The materials might be the difference maker, but Kanata and Sphinx don't have them either. They have to give it up and set their eyes down below. It's Joe and Angel, the only other duo, but Scare as a solo left his mark, taking down Sphinx, leaving Kanata in a 1v2. He's able to make quick work, so it is actually going to be a 1v1 situation if he can get a knock. Joe, weak. He does have the chug jugs. Angel, same position, but he has the chug jugs. Kanata goes for the side angle. Monster, it is not enough. Angel and Joe will steal away that game.
Yeah, in the end, it was so close. They lost track of Scare there. Either way, congratulations to Joe and Angel. A huge win. And Zeke, that's a ticket straight to the finals.
Congratulations! Angel and Joe, victory royale! Let's go! Oh, Kelly, I want to be sad, but I gotta be happy. I gotta be happy right now.
You do have
for
to
Joe,
be happy.
for Angel. This is a big moment. They get themselves that victory out. Now they get to go to finals this weekend, fight for spots, go to the global championships, fight for prize money. I mean, this is a big moment for the duo.
100%. I mean, their best game was, I think, a 13th place overall in the day. So to see them be able to come out on top against some big names like Kanata, like G-Money and Scare, we do have to give some props to Angel and Joe. But you do have to imagine that some people are seeing this Angel with a little bit of devil horns because of how close Kanata was, Vivid.
Yep, without a doubt. And listen, for Angel and Joe here, this will actually be only their second time for each of them. So each of them have made a singular grand finals before, but this will only be each of their second time entering a grand final. So a very big moment for these two guys. And listen, Kelly, this is actually one of those teams that actually switched things up coming into this last chance qualifier here, right? Kind of Angel actually played in heat number 1. Unfortunately for Joe, he did not actually play in the heat. So making this a little bit of a change in terms of forming a new duo for this last chance qualifier immediately works out for them as they do go ahead and get the win here in game number 4. And as a result, we'll be seeing them in the grand finals. And like I said,
that
each
game
one of them
going to
only
be
their second
kind of
time
game.
each.
Wow.
We can see here on the low ground right now, they did have just a handful of eliminations, and you have to think it's because of that Mythic Maven right there doing so much damage and actually breaking the double-digit eliminations here. Although, maybe not. I'm not too certain what's going on with my screen right now, but there we go. Double-digit eliminations, 10 elims for this duo right now, although as we know that eliminations didn't really mean too much, but being able to clean out that low ground, being able to stop the chaos, the pandemonium, as we've been calling it, it probably allowed them to control that low ground without too much issue. We saw that Kanata as a solo was sticking to the mid ground, and then obviously it was G-Money and Scare on height. So for them to kind of clear out low ground so there isn't that pandemonium was a really smart play, Zeke.
It was, and it was enough to get them that victory royale. Friends, one last game to settle it. One last spot before we start looking toward the finals. Oh man, I'm stressing.